guys. We are live.
All right.
Live. Why is it? It's okay.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to our Friday edition of Real Estate Unwrapped. My name is Ed Penn with NYC Homes. I'm here hanging out with Gigi Pierre and Israel Martinez. What is up, guys?
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
All right. So today we are actually following up on the nice training we had on Wednesday with Olga Mayaeva, who was discussing her pre-listing package and the questions she asked to sellers and so on and so forth. And we felt it was important to discuss the elements of your listing presentation, right? We're not going to go through the listing presentation, but we're going to talk about what should go in your actual listing presentation package. What type of material you should share with your seller, right?
Correct, 100%.
Perfect, that's that. I said it in English. That is good.
Was it? That sounded like Spanish.
Huh?
Sounded like Spanish.
Pretty much. Very pro. All right, I hope. Where is our crowd? Where is our people? Let me read.
Well, while they're coming in little by little, I think one of the cool things about listing presentations is that you should always go in there knowing, to have the confidence in there, knowing that you have the information that the owner is looking for. You've already asked them the pre-qualifying questions in order to see their motivations. These are things that you want to walk in there with. You want to be able to walk in there and have, that mindset that you're there to get the listing. So
yeah, and ideally you should have sent a pre-listing package, and what you will see at your listing presentation would be a little bit redundant of what you had in your pre-listing package, but you can actually go through it better. All right, with this in mind, let's see what we got. Let's add our.
So I just want to make sure that we're clarifying a bunch of this stuff. So listing packages, for some of you guys, maybe you know what it is. For some of you guys, maybe you might not know. But like they said, we're just going to help you guys kind of put it all together.
Right. So there are so many
Good morning, Wade.
templates of listing presentations. You could choose it. I'm sure your brokerage is going to offer some. At our brokerage, we have it's already done for you. It's a big listing presentation. You can skim it down a little bit. You can add your own stuff. It's pretty cool. So we're not going to go with our listing presentation, but some of the elements that you should actually have in there, okay? Because you want to be prepared, and all the fluff and the me, I'm so good. Look at me, look at my beautiful marketing. There is essentially more than that. All right. So let's go with the first thing, guys. If you want to discuss, I always go with the seller with information about the property.
So just to be clear for some of you folks that are watching this, Gigi, this right here, we're talking to agents at this point. So where can we go to find the building's information? Now, keep in mind, each state has its own website. Right. We're practicing real estate in the state of New York. So with that being said, where can you pull this information?
So this particular example is from a program called Geodata, whatever you want to pronounce it. And it's actually something we offer to agents that are working with us. And if you're not working with us, I'm sure we can still make an effort and provide you with a free account with that program, which is also used by appraisers. You could have other sources. If you're a member of our One Key MLS, you could use NARRPR, which is the property resource from National Association of Realtors. That is also giving you a whole bunch of property records plus comparables from MLS and public record as well. So just give you an example here of Geodata with the property information, and most of all, as well, we want to dig a little bit and see if there might be any issues. Like this one has a sidewalk violation, which actually could drag on the closing time if it's not being resolved. You know, you have different ways where some property would close with a sidewalk violation on, you know, when it's being taken care of, and then it would be escrow and so on and so forth. So that's pretty much that. You want to double check the information that the owner is giving you, especially when it comes to taxes, you know, property size, lot size, also name of the owners, very important, I think. And I think on the next slide, I didn't add the deed, but you could also pull up the deed from those property records. What I would also suggest when you're dealing with a 3-family and up, check with when you're in New York City, check with the HPD department and make sure that property has been registered, because that's just happened to one of my listings. We're in contract, and then that owner, and I failed to go to HPD website. There was no violation. I'm like, we're good. And oops, they did not register the lead paint. They did not register the property last year. So it's just a little delay, not a long delay, but, you know, like, let's make sure you have everything in place when you're ready to list. And that will make you look super professional, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you're pulling this information.
What you're doing.
Yeah, you're pulling this information, and the key here is that when you speak to in this case, you're speaking to the seller. When you speak to them, you want to make sure you understand the property that you're seeing. You want to make sure you have that information. How cool would it be is if you sat down with the seller and you asked them a question? Hey, look, I did some research, and I noticed that your lot size is this. I noticed that your building size is this. I noticed that you have this is how much your taxes are. But did you know, like Gigi just said, did you know that you had a sidewalk lien? A lot of these owners don't know that.
Right.
You know, and the fact that you provide that value, they're going to look at you different. You didn't just come in here and try to pitch them on how you can sell their home and how much marketing and Instagram and Facebook you do. You literally came in presenting value and showed them, hey, did you know that this was here? Did you know that this issue presented itself? Hey, let me help you get that corrected.
Right, because you're finding the pain and you're like, oh, here you go. We may have a potential issue. And you could be the source for helping fixing it out. You know, like hopefully you, I mean, if you don't have one, we can always refer to you to expediters that could handle this matter. Usually the work has to be redone on the sidewalk, and permits have to be pulled, and the violation has to be lifted. And that requires a couple $1,000, a little bit more, depending on the size of the job. And then it's a matter of a few weeks to take care of. But that could delay the closing that few weeks if you do wait until you have the title report. All right? Yeah. Israel, anything you wanted to add?
No, I think you guys hit the nail on the coffin on that one. So pretty much it's done deal.
Yeah, so here goes the next. Of course, you're going to come with your comparative market analysis. We did a training on this, right? We did.
No, we haven't.
Oh no! So that should be. Actually, we should put it on our list.
How to do CMAs?
Yeah, like a nice comprehensive CMA. Yeah. So I took illustrations, not necessarily from our MLS, but we all have from our MLSs the capacity to pull comparative market analysis. Usually what you do, you'll find, like 3 sold listings right in the surrounding areas, similar properties, same bedroom count or bathroom count, or really, really similar. So 3 sold, couple of available, I guess. I'll take a couple of expired or withdrawn just to illustrate that thing. And of course, a couple of under contract just to show the trends and number of days. And of course, you can add up different stuff, different statistics that you could also have available in your MLS, market report generators, so on and so forth. So all those elements part of the market analysis we could discuss at a later training, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
I'm trying to zoom in. I don't have my glasses on because I really can't see that other slide.
No,
But
that's why it's really small.
Yeah.
So you really
it's
can't
okay.
see. But
all
the
right,
point
cool.
the point I want to add on there is certainly once you're in front of the owner, honestly, the two things that are most important, it's really what's available and what's closed, right? But then you'll also have fantasy sellers out there who, and when I mean fantasy sellers, they have a certain fantasy price. You certainly want to be able to show them with the expires and with the withdrawals, hey, listen, this is priced at this price. See why it didn't sell because maybe of this reason, that reason, this reason. Withdrawals, same thing. Again, with the under contracts, we don't know what it was actually under contract for, but if you did a little bit more due diligence work, you may be able to find that information out. However, at the end of the day, you certainly don't want to overwhelm them with so much information. Know your seller, whether they're the type that needs the numbers in front of them or the pictures in front of them. Know the seller that, whether they need a lot of this information or very little information. Just be precise about the information that you're about to present to them. Because once you do the CMA, you may end up with at least 20 listings when you only need to show them 3. So just be constant, especially if you do your
know who your seller is, like Israel is saying. Very, very important. We did the personality profile training. Guys, you can refer back to it, all the 4 different type of personalities, the main ones. And know your sellers, know what information they will need. Don't come to a D personality seller with a 75-page report. You're going to lose them. But don't come to a C personality, very controlled, very analytical, with 2 pages of sold listing. That's not going to be enough for them. You're going to look like a buffoon. So you have to weigh in the pros and the cons and what your seller mainly he's going to look for.
But no matter what, even with the information that you do have or provide, be constant, be educated yourself on what is going on with that particular market, right? What's going on with that subject property. So this way, when they ask you, what about so-and-so next door? Well, they sold it for this. They were listed for that. They went in and expired for this. They withdrawn for that. So this way you'll have the more knowledge you have, the more you can provide for them.
Yeah, or next door, or you have a 1 family and next door you're saying, they sold for $1.5 million, but next door is a 2-family house. And next door has been fully renovated and so on and so forth. So try to know what's going on in that immediate area.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, sellers are now, what they're trying to say is, hey, look, I saw this house down the block. My house is better than that house. And
they're always better.
They're listed. This is what they say. They're listed at this price. And then the response is always, but did they sell at that price? No, they're listed at this price. So if they can get that, I want more. At the end of the day, you present the comps, you present the numbers. I've always said it. I quote Jay-Z all the time. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Show them the numbers, and they might sit there and say, I don't care. I want $3 million for my house. Yeah, but Mr. Seller, I'm showing you what has recently sold. All of these homes recently sold at this number. They sold for $2 million, not $3 million. So therefore, it wouldn't make sense. Let me show you another house that's listed for $3 million, and look how many days it's been on the market, right? That's what's good about it. You can show them these numbers and say, do you want to stay on the market for forever, or do you want to get your house sold right away? Which one is it?
Right. So definitely CMA is super important to have. If you don't come with the CMA, that's going to be a little bit tough to get to your pricing. And the next component, look, Ed, it's you.
Oh, whoa. Who's that guy?
I know.
I was like, who the hell is this?
I think it's always, this you could have in your pre-listing package. And if you don't have a pre-listing package and you go straight to the listing presentation, it's nice to, I don't even do this anymore. I tell people, if you haven't Googled me, well, too bad. Anyway,
I can't wait to start saying that to people.
No, not like that. But usually everything you after a while, they pretty much know. But it's nice to have a small bio. And if you don't have much about yourself, you can always talk about your team, like about me, about my team. Just to show, especially when you're a brand new agent, that you're not by yourself flying solo without a net.
Right.
So it's good, like put your specialties like Ed did in his bio, which is nice.
Right.
As well. Okay. Also, it's nice if you have some reviews. So pull up a couple of reviews, show them to your sellers. And what I think is also important is to have references from your sellers. Put a list of several sellers or several people that would give you a reference that you've been working with in real estate that would actually vouch for you when those sellers would call. So they would always be ready to get a phone call from a stranger and say, hey, how is Ed doing? I'm planning on listing my house with this person. And that actually works. People like to see that you're very transparent with your references.
No, it's good. And absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you mentioned that because we were talking about that earlier this week while we were putting this together. And it's funny because we've always heard, hey, make sure you get reviews. Get your past clients to give you a review on Zillow, for example. And in this case, I never once thought about saying, hey, would it be nice if I could just use you as a reference? If someone was to ever say, hey, can I call somebody and speak to them instead of reading these sentences on your profile? Yeah. Can I speak to somebody? And I never thought about it. I've never been asked that question, but I'm glad that this is something that we discussed because now it's like, cool, now I can be prepared for that.
Yeah. So recently we had the listing outside of our immediate market, and thankfully we did another deal in that market, which we just closed, which is about to close and going super well. And we were able to get that second listing based on the references we got from an email by that first seller we had, just like gave raving reviews. So you have your raving fans, you've been giving them great customer service, and they're going to be willing to just like vouch for you. Shoot a nice email, talk about the experience, especially if it was a great one. And they would love to talk about it and see how you help them out.
So we had a question. We had a question. I just showed it right now. I'll pull it up again. Sorry, Israel. We keep blocking Israel's face.
No worries.
So it says, if the selling price is what's important, why include the listed price in CMA?
If the selling price
So I think what they're saying is if the selling, so like basically what the listed price is. I think that's what they were trying to say. So if the listed price is if the selling price is what's important, why include the listed price in the CMA?
So it's very, I think to me it's very important. You're going to show list price versus sell price. That also going to, beyond that, you're going to see what, like a higher listing price would yield as far as number of days. Like a higher listing price versus a much lower selling price, you may end up with longer days on the market. And that's something to actually showcase, like, okay, Mr. Seller here, this agent listed at $1.5 million and ended up selling for $1.1 million, and they were on the market for 257 days. Versus this listing where they were priced a little bit under $1.1 million, and they got over $1.1 million, and they were listed for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. So those are examples you can actually show, different marketing strategy from different listing agents of the what to do or what not to do. So it's a combination of a lot of things. Price, selling price, list to sell ratio, days on the market, the marketing offered, the service offered, how the listing showed, the visibility of the listing. I mean, so many factors.
Yeah. I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's hard for us to tell a seller, hey, Mr. Seller, I know you want $3 million for your house, but that's too much and it's never going to happen. We can't really say that to them.
Oh, yes, we can.
Tell us to get out.
Yes, we can.
Maybe you, Gigi, if they Googled you. If they Googled you, then they'll say, they'll probably go like this. Gigi, whatever you say works. That's what they'll probably do. But at the end, for someone who's brand new, right? Someone who's coming in, entry level, what you want to do is now present these numbers to them. You're going to show them, oh, you want to list for $3 million? Here, let me show you a couple of houses that listed for $3 million. Look how many days they've been on the market. 200 and something days. They never even adjusted the price. Do you really think people are looking at that property? If something is on the market for over a month, I feel like the most common question asked is, what's wrong with the home? Why is it not selling?
especially in this market. Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are so many.
It definitely helps you. It definitely helps you to present these numbers to them, and then help them make an educated decision onto what is going to make the most sense. If they're serious about selling the home, they should list it at this price. If they're not serious and they're like, oh, you know what, I could leave it on the market for a year, then fine, as long as you're okay with that.
And then,
I mean, it shows how motivated they are. So
yeah, and then it's your decision as an agent to say, you know what, do I want to keep this? Do I want to take that listing that may never sell and just have the listing for the sake of having a listing? Or do I want to list so I can sell that property so I can have a paycheck? It's all up to you. You know,
it's true.
So, it is
true.
So
they said thank you. And we actually have another question from Olga. Yes. Okay, so it says, is the tax assessor's market price relevant to the listing price?
I love that question. Can I answer that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So the tax assessing, the market value is on the taxes, on the tax assessment roll, is basically what the city is assessing the property price at to collect more taxes. It doesn't mean it's the market value. It doesn't mean that at all. And unfortunately, a lot of sellers are going with that number, and that number, I am not a tax assessor for the city, but that number has different variables as well. The location, the size of the property, the estimated current market of that tax assessment department in the city, the renovations, the permits that have been pulled. If you're going to pull permits for basically those containers and permits for plumber, permits for roofing contractor and all this, the city will know you're doing improvement. They're going to jack up the value of that property and therefore raise the taxes on that property. But it doesn't mean this is the actual property value that you would gather in at a fair market value on the free market with, supply and demands and buyer offering a certain price for that type of house.
Right.
Yeah. I know sometimes they pull out that. Great question.
No, this is a great question. And probably 2 out of 5 sellers, when we show them the geodata report, they get back to this and say, here, the SS value. Great point. Fantastic point.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love the questions. Guys, if you have more questions, definitely throw it in the chat. We'll try to answer it as we go along, but we appreciate all the questions.
Right. And then you're going to want to have some ammos in your arsenal, right? You want to be ready, especially with that seller that wants $3 million for a property that might sit on the market for a year. So I think you've seen it many times, is the impact of price visibility. The price on visibility is a price pyramid. And it's always a great tool to have,
right,
to see what kind of market share you're going to capture as far as views and interests based on how well you're going to price the property.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this kind of goes hand in hand on what we were talking about before, right?
Oh, yeah.
Everything is about pricing. You show them this grid is literally going to help them try to make a better decision on where they should be priced.
Right. And then when you get like a little bit more seasoned, you probably should be able to use this to price the property a little bit below market value in order to gather way above market value. I mean, actually, that's going to be the market value, but to gather like a higher price than expected by creating this sense of urgency. You have this super well-priced property and you're going to have 200 people flock to the house and obviously give you higher than asking. We've been in this market. This is what's happening right now without agents making any effort. In normal markets, you should be able to gauge, how much you should price that property. A little bit under to get a little bit over.
Yeah. That's true.
I
agree. I think that works phenomenally. And sometimes the sellers ask, like, why would I want to price it a little below the market?
Yeah.
Why not price it high? Because everyone wants to come in and negotiate. it's like if I'm priced here, these guys want to come in and give me an offer here. Like, why would I want to do that? And realistically is right here. The graph is there.
Yeah.
If you price it 10% below market, you're going to get an influx of people. So you explain it to the seller. Listen, would you rather me get 50 offers that we can negotiate, or would you rather me get one person in here and try to beg them to buy the house because it's overpriced? Like, hey, we're willing to negotiate. You know, like, how does that look? We're not looking like professionals if we're just willing to chop things down off the bat. If we price it right, let them fight each other.
Yeah, there was also a little spreadsheet I had years ago. I used to share my list price to sell price ratio. I used to put that sheet. So that would come from the MLS. Basically, I would do my little spreadsheet, do my little calculations, last year's, all my listing inventory, you know, what sold, this and that. And I would do my list to sell ratio. And when people would say, you know, list high, sell, you know, list high and come down a lot more, I was like, nah, this is not what I do. Let me show you what I do instead. You know, that's when you have enough that you can discuss. Could be more than a year. You could have like the history of your listings after, you know, you've been in real estate for a few years. And people will listen to you. You know, they, of course, numbers don't lie, just like Jay-Z says. You know? Yeah. All right. No more questions?
I didn't check.
And then we have, this is also very, very important. And we do have a whole spreadsheet of closing costs, debt to income ratio, seller net proceeds, that we can actually, for those that are member of our alliance movement, we can give you that whole spreadsheet. It's actually courtesy of Olga Savelov and Israel Martinez that have been working on it like several years ago, right. Israel?
Yeah, I think it was several years ago. Yeah.
More about that, because you know that was like it was a big Herculean task to put that together. But we're lucky to have all those debt to income ratios, closing costs, seller net proceeds for anything from a condo, co-op, 1 to 4 family house. Go ahead, Israel.
This was first brought through Olga, and when I saw it, I saw how she had it, and then I had to change a couple things here and there. But this is a really good net seller's proceeds for this particular one's 1 to 3 families, and I actually use this a lot when it comes to showing the owner where they could approximately or estimately get at the end of closing. You know, obviously we all go through a lot of things here and there, like seller's concession, but when you're looking at this from the points of the taxes, which is New York City and state taxes, to attorneys and the record fees, I mean, all these are all included and they're all formulated in a sort of way to actually show that in this case here, a person who's actually selling $1 million house, or $1.2 million actually, and they certainly have a loan for $700,000 or $800,000. They're going to end up with at least $300,000 after every other parts of closing. They're going to end up with $300,000, which is a really good chunk of change. So with net seller proceeds, we really want to make sure that the seller understands that this is not exactly what they're going to get, but this is more of an approximation and what they're actually going to be spending it on, right? So they're going to be spending on the closing costs, and you know what? Sometimes I also add in marketing as well. You know, for the marketing that I'm going to do, you know, you're going to have to plug that in some way, somehow, so that they can see that they're actually going to be spending all this in order to get their home sold right away, or what they're going to get at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it's you must be able to run your seller net proceeds to show them what they would approximately. When we say approximately, it's not grossly. Approximately, it's within $1,000 or $2,000 of those net proceeds, where they should know what's the net in their pocket. And that's usually a big decisive factor when it comes to your listing price. You know, because sometimes they would just want to list like super high, and in the end they're like, the price you were proposing, I would still net that. Yes, sir, you would. And so it's a great tool to have. where they can actually see what they would walk away with. And sometimes they have some surprises. They would totally omit that they have to pay transfer tax for New York City and New York State. And that is a big chunk. All right. Yeah. When you're in a co-op, they may have a flip tax in the building. So all those things come into considerations with how much they're gonna net.
Yeah.
Right.
And just be very careful when you give this information out. I always like to say, hey, look, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, this is a rough estimate. All right. The attorney fees might be different. The payoff fees, the bank fees might be different. So just keep in mind it's a rough estimate, just to kind of give you an idea.
Right.
But I love this sheet. Israel, I appreciate that you guys put this together, you and Olga.
Olga,
and I know you guys also put together the other one too, the purchase cost analysis. Like you guys kind of advanced it.
It is on the spreadsheet. What we will do, we will put every single slide that we have in today's. Actually, I'll put the whole slides in there, and that seller net proceed. That is also called closing costs. We'll put that in the Alliance Movement page and in our workplace group, so you guys can have access to it. All right. Awesome. And we'll do more training on seller net proceeds and closing costs and DTI. We're gonna have to. It's always like something that we need to. It's a skill. It's a craft we need to work on all year long. Okay. All right.
Well, we have a great question that just came in for Israel. So Israel.
So to answer that question, as far as the marketing,
yes.
So the question is, when you include Israel, when you include marketing in, does that mean you make your seller actually pay for it? Well, it's going to be paid for anyway throughout my commission anyways. So think about it this way. So what I'm saying is that I'm actually putting in a certain amount of what I'm using for my marketing. So then at the end of the day, they're going to be paying for it anyway through my commission. So that's how I'm showing it. I don't want them to think that I'm just walking out of there or just with a commission. I'm doing a lot of things, and part of that is part of the marketing that I'm putting in.
Yeah. So I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, it's also a good question. Let's say we've had some instances where you could be paid whatever marketing costs you put up front if the seller decides not to even
continue
sell or changes their mind or so on and so forth. So that that $500, $1,000, whatever you spend on marketing, yes, you should get paid for it. And if you can negotiate that, why not? Yes, when you close, that would be included in. But we are professionals. We do not work for charity, and we have our hard-earned money. And when you're going to do a nice, marketing package, and just decide to just, say, hey, we changed our mind. Thank you so much. It was great. I love the video. We love the 3D tour. And he's like,
Yeah. Listen, I did it once. It happened. I was helping a seller. She was gung-ho for selling the place. So I went back and redid photos professionally, did everything. Unfortunately, we were going through a process, found the buyer. She lost her job, could not continue with the sale.
Okay.
And now for that situation, I was like, I didn't charge her for anything. I left it alone. She says when everything goes back to normal, she's gonna hire me again to help her sell the place. But from that point forward, what I did do is I included them into my contracts that if in the event something was to occur or you decided that you no longer wanted to work with me, you will be responsible for any of the marketing material I put together. And I put that out there up front. And the reason why I do that is because the same way they are taking a leap of faith and trusting you to help them sell their home, you are also taking a leap of faith and you're putting your own money out there first to advertise and market. So you're investing in that seller's opportunity to sell that home. So you have to look at it that way, and you present it that way because you're a business owner. So don't feel shy or scared to let them know, hey, I'm just letting you know, if at the end of this 6-month contract that we have together, if you just look at me and you're like, you know what, Ed, I freaking hate you. You are the worst agent I've ever hired. That's fine. We'll go our separate ways. I'll tear up the contract. But just remember, any type of marketing stuff that I put together, any marketing campaigns that I put together for you to help you advertise your home, you will be responsible for.
Why
so
not?
that right there is going to put them in a position where they're going to either say, you know what, I'm really not that serious in selling my home right now because they have this high crazy number. Or they might just say, you know what, that's fine. No big deal. I understand.
Right. Yeah. Great. I like those questions coming in. That's fantastic.
We have another question that came in.
No.
Go ahead. When researching a property, do you use Acris or NYC building sites for more accurate? Yes, I use both.
Let me hide the ticket. And
so, do we use Acris or do we use NYC building site for more accuracy? I use both. When it comes to a home, when it comes to single family, I use both. So
Acris is actually Acris has.
Isn't that more for like attorneys and stuff? Because Priscilla knows how to work her way around Acris, but I don't use Acris.
Okay, so Acris is basically, you can use GeoData, which is a compilation of everything from Acris,
right?
Which is going to show you all the deed recording and all that. And then you have the Department of Building, which is going to show you the property information. So from GeoData, everything is put together, compiled for you, so you don't have to go through the different sites. But it is basically that. And if you don't have GeoData, yes, you should go both to Acris, check the deed, and both to Department of Building. Make sure there are no violations or impediments that would slow the process.
Right.
Yes. Do your digging.
So just to piggyback on something that we said earlier. So you do have GeoData, you do RPR, and we also have Remind, which pretty much all three of them are national. I think they're national sites you can use.
Yeah.
So definitely RPR and Remind is. So you can actually use that and get the information from whatever source they're using it from. Obviously, Acris in New York City buildings is only for New York, but in New York City. But then when you go to Long Island, it's different because now it becomes from the county clerks.
Yeah.
And now it's a little different. So you have to now use a different website for that.
Don't have the website. Sometimes you have to go to the municipality and get to their own computer because it's not shared publicly.
Right. You have to use microfiche and everything.
Yeah, so it's probably the same person for multi-family houses. When you're talking about anything like 3 and up, like apartment buildings, yes. So you still go Acris, you still do Department of Building, you do HPD for registrations. And that's that's outside of the realm of residential real estate, and it's more commercial real estate. I don't know if we'll ever do commercial. I am not a commercial broker. I dabble in it once in a while. But this is when you're going to go to apartment buildings that are like 6 family and up. That's a whole different ball game. All right. Yeah.
Great questions, guys. Thank you.
Those questions. That's fantastic. All right, and then of course you would want to show them your marketing plan. I found an example of a listing plan of action from one of our workplace groups at EXP called Listing Presentation, where agents actually share with other agents what their listing presentation, the listing package, and whatever material they offer, which is great. I think it's great that we can get ideas from other agents, because whatever I'm doing sometimes could become a little bit stale. So I like to refresh things and see what other people are doing that are much better than what I do. Because you have to be real, like it's always great to improve on yourself. And sometimes other people have better ideas than you. And we are very lucky to have that workplace group listing presentations where we could actually share with other agents what we got. So a listing plan of action, also that's absolutely great. You want to tell your seller what you're going to be doing. Try to not make it with 72 points. I went to a listing presentation years ago.
That sounds like a 72 car inspection. Like you go to the dealer and
point inspection. And this agent I took along at the listing presentation is telling Mr. Seller, the seller was an IS personality. And she tells him, okay, let me go over the 72 point of our listing plan of action. I'm like, 72 points. And she's like, yeah, let's go over it. And I'm like, oh my God.
How long is that gonna take?
I was like, aha. But please make it concise, 15, 20 points is plenty.
Yeah.
All right. What do you guys want to do? You use that listing plan of action? Do you have one? I'm going to show you what I have. It's actually
trying to zoom in right now.
You want to zoom in?
No. I'm zooming in. Don't
you zoom in. This is what I'm using. I'm always having my little bullet point marketing proposal, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 bullets. Anywhere from price to commission to what we'll do, photography, floor plan, how I'm going to call other agents, how I'm going to make sure I market this to the neighbor, and so on and so forth.
I mean, the thing to understand is that whether it's 18, 15, 72, which is obviously excessive, these are things that you're pretty much letting the owner know of things you're going to be doing. So if you're doing 72, I'm hoping that you're doing the 72, right?
Wow,
but 18, out of those 18, out of the 15s, honestly, these are things that you're going to be doing and to help them get the prices that they want in the shortest amount of time. That's really what the bottom line is to that. So you're letting them know, these are the things I'm working on. This is my system. This is what we're going to do. And this is how quick we're going to try to get it for me, for us to get that price that you're looking for. So,
right. Let me go on our live with the questions from, since we have different sources of questions. Marky, where can we find that marketing plan? So, Marky, if you are on this thread, it means you are with the Alliance movement. You can go to Workplace. Our EXP Realty Workplace group, and there is a group in there called Listing Presentations. Okay, and the agent, I am not gonna blast out the agent's name because we just took a screenshot of her thing, and that's her thing. You can find many different listing plan of actions, listing presentations. You go under the group and look at the files, and this is all the files that are shared with the group.
Right. Yes. And if you don't, look, if you're not with us, EXP, because all of us are, it's okay. I always say Google it. Just Google it. You'll find a whole bunch of them out there. See which one really works for you. See which one really is a great plan for you. But again, what I always suggest is that if these are the things you're going to work on, things that you're going to say, do it. Yes. Just do it. Don't say that you're not.
Yes, so those, whatever is on that marketing proposal, you should do it. If it's beyond your power, don't put it in.
Right. Don't say that you're going to.
I'm going to bring a circus clown at open house. Right. I'm going to have, weeds.
Better bring that circus clown.
It's pretty much, there's some in there that I've seen that I'll reach out to 150 people, or I'll do this. I'll do 30. I'll do 2 profiles. I'll do a drone photo for you. Look, honestly, if you're new, whether or not you're going to do 150 phone calls, who knows, right? Are you actually going to do a drone? That's expensive. So, honestly, just do the things that you're honestly going to work on, and then put it in there, and show that the owner, that you have a game plan to sell their home. So
I think homeowners want to see more than all the glitz and glamour and everything. They want to see the effort you're putting in to sell their property. That's really what they're looking for. They're like,
right.
Are you going to go a little bit beyond? Like, are you going to be there? Like for me, like especially if they have situations of violations, are you going to be able to handle it? Are you going to guide me through this? You're not going to pay for the violation for those sellers, but you're going to be able to guide them and, give them recommendations on different things, which leads us to, I think it's the next slide. Did I miss one?
Did you?
I think I may have missed the, hold on. Yeah, I missed something, guys. I missed the, I missed the prepping your house for sale. That's a good slide to have. Right, but let's talk about the roadmap once. Israel, you want to talk about the roadmap? This, guys, Israel is going to tell you where you can have access to this, and I'm going to try to find that that prepping the house to sell slide. And yeah.
Seller's roadmap. There's two ways of finding it. You can actually, if you're part of EXP, as part of our marketing department, marketing portion of our, of our whatever website. But then, really, where you can also find it is on Breakthrough Broker. And what this is really a good way to summarize exactly how to sell a home for your owner. Right? Sometimes they figure out like what to do, what I need to do, what's the next steps. And here it is going, one by one, exactly what they need to do, what they're going to go through, what stage they're up to in order to get their home sold, right? I mean, from meeting with a real estate professional to establishing a price to prepare your home, which we're about to show you in a few minutes, how to prepare your home in a way to make it look from a $200,000 home to $1 million home. I may be exaggerating, but the point is you want to show first impression to the person, right? Then you want to list the home, and allow the agent to do the offers and throw a couple of negotiations, go into under contract, finalize, any details that need to be done with the inspections, with the contract, so on and so forth, and then go straight to closing. Of course, there are certain things in between that too that's not there. But the point is that this is a real summarized way of exactly how it is to get your home sold to a point of, I'm at a closing table, let me get my check, here's my keys, let's go. So this is, and then what I like about this is that whether, again, EXP or Breakthrough Broker, is that if you notice how Gigi's face is on there, her beautiful model face and everything, she has a phone number there. She has her email there. She has everything that she has there. So again, if you use this to a certain platform, right, whether you're speaking to the seller in front of you or an owner, you put your face on there. You put your information on there, and then this way you right away.
Yeah, since we have access to Breakthrough Broker from our brokerage, that information is automatically put in there. It's the information that comes in on my settings, and I even have, there is some things that I probably need to remove the license number thing, which is not required in our state, but I could add my license number, it doesn't really matter. But it's all accessible to our EXP Realty agents. That's the type of marketing material you're getting at all time. I also wanted to, what is nice also, and this I don't know why I totally forgot and why we forgot it. It's not that important, but sometimes it's good to help sellers with the preparation of the house, decluttering, and so on and so forth. And I wanted to, maybe we can share I'll share something. Let's go rogue here. I'm going to stop sharing this. And I like going rogue. You like going rogue, right? Let's stop sharing this. My computer is very slow today. And let's reshare another screen share, and it's going to be 20 tips for preparing your home for sale. So you have this graph, if it's going to come up. You have this graph that is offered by, why it's not showing? It is taking a little bit of time. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. So this graph, which is offered by Keeping Current Matter, which I will put into our workplace as well, which has 20 tips on how to declutter the house and making it more probably curb appealing and so on and so forth. And you have some other ones that are from the same company, KCM, where you just have pictures. It's more graphic. This one is designed more for the more analytical seller, and there is another one with just photos of about 10 items that you could do to prep your house for sale. So those things, I don't necessarily have them handy. A lot of the times I would give recommendations orally. You could write it up as far as little notes, but it's nice to have, especially when you're brand new. Makes you look really, really professional. All right. Let's share again our listing presentation here. Let me go back. And you see, this is, oh my goodness. Everything. Are we on? Do you see it? Nope.
I see
Share
you
the
guys.
screen.
Yeah, I don't see it sharing.
Let me just go back to that listing presentation. I think we have one more slide and we should be good. Let me
do.
put my glasses because me no see nothing. All right.
Give it a few seconds. I'm sure it'll come up.
Yes, I don't know why it's taking so long. I think my internet is a little bit unstable here in the office, but it's okay. Next slide. Okay, for you guys. And again, those things we will share, but you could create your own listing management checklist. Especially if you're new, like this is an example. You could make it a little bit different according to which state you are in, because we're in an attorney state, so attorneys prepare the contract and so on and so forth, and we are more coordinators. We're not as hands-on on contract. So have a checklist, see what once you have the listing, you don't have to share this with the seller, but you could, just to show them how prepared you are, and just go through that checklist, like making sure you don't miss any stages of the transaction from listing to closing. Right? You guys want to add something?
No.
Actually, this is really good for let's just say a really new agent who doesn't really know what to do, doesn't want to invite a seasoned agent into the deal, doesn't want to, just wants to really, take the grind of actually knowing exactly what to do with the listing. And two or three things that come out of this is the fact that you actually now are slightly organized in exactly knowing what to do right throughout this process. Two, if you go back to the point of plan of action, if you take some of these tidbits that are on here, you might be able to plug those into your plan of action, right? Mm-hmm. Show how important, show how much organized you can be. And then three, once you're like, again, by yourself, you don't know how to handle each thing. You can create your own checklist through using all these here. But then at the same time, once you see how successful this can be for you, you can create a small system just plugging in or out of things that are in here already for you. Because I can tell you that this looks like the 72. Yeah, this looks like the 72 plan of action here. But the point is,
stuff, yes, that will happen for sure. Right. It's probably the application process, like calling the appraiser, scheduling the appointment. That's
everything is here. Everything you need.
Yeah, this has everything in it.
From point A to point B, the last thing that's not there is giving a gift to the seller. I mean, everything is here. I mean, you just need to, if you think about it, you pretty much plug this in. And if you plug it into a checklist for yourself, you're good to go.
Yeah. And again, those are examples.
Right.
Folks, those are examples. We're not telling you to use exactly this. We have available in our brokerage, and I'm sure you Google things and you find everything. We have things available within our brokerage that could help you really be, organized and professional, and make sure you render the service that those sellers deserve. That's all it is. All it is, yes.
And if, like Israel said, if you guys are fairly new or not as seasoned as some of the other agents,
or if you're
don't be scared to ask. Or even if you're season 2. I mean, look.
For me, doing this, I'm usually very transparent, and everybody knows it. Sometimes could hurt a little, but I could be revamping the presentation I have, because yes, a lot of the times come in with the property records, potential violations, and this, and CMA and the paperwork. It wouldn't hurt if I said, let me revamp my listing presentation and see if I could use some of those and put it back and just put my own little sauce, and just have something more organized. Will it take my business to another notch? Maybe, maybe not, but why not try? When I do this for you guys, I do this also for myself, because it's going to keep me on my toes. It's the what not to do and the what to do. And this is also a great way to just, as a seasoned agent, to just say, hey, let's get back to the drawing board, see how could I improve everything. I know it's been a great year for business, but it might not be like that next year. So let's get ready.
Right. Absolutely. So to answer the question that was there, as far as the listing checklist, no, the listing checklist is not on EXP. This is part of. I think we are going to put a part of our alliance thing, but at the same time, this was found in Breakthrough Broker.
Yes.
So you can always find it there, and it's a very easy. It's very extensive if you look at. I mean, I'm looking at some of the stuff here, and I'm like, holy cannoli.
This is offered by Breakthrough Brokers in partnership with the Experiality. It's available through Breakthrough Broker. And if you have not set up your account with them, it's a free account. You could have the Breakthrough Broker Plus, whatever it is. But you could still use the free account and get a lot of that. This little material thing.
Absolutely.
Another one of our agent, Olga Mayeva, is using Toolkit CMA, which is a monthly paid subscription. I think it's $20 a month. Right. And it has also, it's got a great app to put your CMA together with a lot of the material that we are showing you today. And they have different design and so on and so forth. So this one is paid. It's $20, same thing, great tools. Or you can go to Breakthrough Broker, or you can go to Workplace Listing Presentation Group and your Marketing Center at the Experiality and get all those goodies.
Right.
Yeah.
So, folks, I mean, honestly, this was really extensive, but it is at the same time very informative I hope for everyone. Just keep in mind that one thing, you want to be prepared in the beginning. You know, do your pre-qualifications, do the research that you need to do on that particular house or co-op or condo. Practice on your own if you need to practice some scripts or practice on the breathing, whatever you need to do, just practice before you meet the owner, and then have the confidence that you're going to get it. Have the confidence that you're going to be in there, showing them that you're going to be the listing agent for their home. All right. And have that presentation in front of you with all the stuff that we just showed you right now, showing them how organized you're going to be, how well you're going to be, how professional you're going to be in order to sell their home for the most amount of money for the shortest amount of time. All right. I think that pretty much when it comes down to listing presentations, the must-haves, all that you saw here today, which is obviously the CMA, the bio, okay, how much time is going to take if you price it a certain way, having this mindset of what the listing management checklist is in front of you, having the roadmap in front of you as well. These are things that are going to really help you excel more than most people are doing right now. So
it's 10 or 11 components of must-have. And I will add the prepping your tips for prepping the home for sale. So that I will add that to the slides and share them on our group and our workplace. And you guys, yes. And I would want to find a volunteer who would actually discuss the whole listing presentation with, the scripts, what they use, and so on and so forth. I would love to have a guest that would actually share their listing presentation with us. That would be fantastic. So if you're out there, contact us.
I'm sure we'll find somebody.
Yes. All right. I think we're going to have a hard stop before 12 o'clock. Israel has a seller meeting. Congratulations and good luck with that.
Congrats, brother. Good luck.
See you next week. Enjoy your weekend. We're having a street fair in Forest Hills on Austin Street. We have a booth. Why don't you come down?
You guys should all stop by. Unfortunately, I won't be there. I'm going to be camping this weekend. So right after this, I got to go build fires and pitch tents. But I might do an open house of my tent. So stay tuned.
Okay, guys. All right, take it away.
Bye, everyone.
All right, guys. Like always, happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend. And we're going to exit out the way we always do. So, guys, enjoy your Friday.
All right.
Stay safe. Don't party too hard. Israel, good luck on that appointment. All right, brother?
Thank you, man.
There you go.
Happy Friday.